Without soils, you don't really have a business. It's pretty simple. Sustainability means lots of things. It's more longevity, leave the environment of the farm better than what it was. We've been supplying Greenhams for about 12 to 13 years. I'm the sixth, and my son Lachlan, who's 19, is the seventh. So I'll call it seven generations, and we started here in 1823-24. I think healthy soils is probably the most critical thing, and healthy soils can be with not a lot of inputs. It's basically to see what's happening in the underneath the grass, and if you've got that right, then if you've got a healthy environment there, the grass will grow. The other thing really is to maintain ground cover and have a lot of organic matter, but particularly just dry matter. The more kilograms of pasture you've got above ground, the better it is at any time. And you can only develop that if you've got a great root structure, so it's a chicken and egg situation. So in my view, it's best to have a really healthy soil. The thing is that healthy soils in some areas, you really require minimal maintenance, and some other areas are more highly productive. You need a little bit more of inputs to get it going. But the idea is really to find the balance, to make sure that in my view, the engine room, the bit below the ground it's really humming. And then if that's working really well, then the grasses will grow. We've been doing soil tests for 50 odd years. Surprisingly, it hasn't changed much at all. Slight improvement, even though we're actually producing more. We test soil quality a number of ways. One by soil tests, which means taking samples on a paddock or representative samples and then sending away for analysis. And then you get a raft of data back, which helps you determine whatever you want to do with that particular paddock. Or you use spike to see how friable the soil is, by how easy it is to push into the ground. The metrics we use to see how we're progressing and how successful we are in this case is primarily EBVs, estimated breeding values. The other metrics we use is to make sure that we're maintaining at least 2,500 kilograms of dry matter per hectare on the farm at any particular time of the year. So we're always being able to provide food. It's one thing to have the genetics, and one thing to have that coded into how you want to produce your animals in the future. It's another thing to have food. So they're both pretty important for me. Since we've used the metrics, we've found that our cattle are quieter, our cattle are turning off quicker, we're hitting the kilograms per hectare output better, being able to move stock easier, a number of things, many things. I think the most important lesson I've learned from managing soil, or topsoil, is actually to reduce the number of stock. We reduced the number of stock about 10, 12 years ago, took a bit of a punt, thinking that it'd be quite damaging to our financial bottom line. And in fact, actually, we got more output per animal and we were retaining more pasture. So that was the start. All I want to do is keep on improving on that, as well as anything to do with the natural erosions or other issues on the farm that we need to give attention to stop any topsoil erosion. The challenges for anybody in either for grasses or for soil maintenance is basically making sure they really understand what their farm is, really understand what the soil type is and how far you can take that. Use that as a prescription then for how you manage it in future. Each block of ground has a different prescription. Some you may have to plough, you don't want to, but mostly you try and do minimal tillage, but there are lots of things that can do that. So understanding the country that you're in. Sustainability to me, having lived in this environment for quite a number of years, in horror years of droughts and chronically bad prices, is to be profitable and to be able to continue to be profitable, to mitigate the effects of drought, mitigate the effects of storms or whatever, in order to just keep going with your business without having to incur too many other costs. That goes hand in hand with all the productivity issues that you're trying to do on your farm as well, grass and soil. My goals for the next 5 or 10 years is there's not much change in what we're doing now. I'm more interested in what we're doing in the next 20 to 30 years. That brings in a raft of things like carbon, sequestration, conservation, fertility issues, but particularly I think from a grazing point of view is actually changing grass species to suit the soils that we have. I'm glad to be involved with the Greenham's Sustainability Project, or extended version. I think it has a chance to really put premium produce up into the minds of the consumer, and also for us it gives us a practical basis of what to improve on our land and for our livestock.